When an oil transfer goes wrong during bunkering operations, the damage is immediate. The moment oil hits the water, the crew is on the clock. But while the physical spill might only take 5 minutes to stop, the resulting investigation will consume the next 3 years. The immediate human instinct when a leak occurs isn't usually to grab the radio and alert the authorities. It's to wait. Crews want to see how much actually leaked, or try to clean the deck before anyone on shore notices the sheen. But port authorities and coastal states require absolute, immediate notification. When a crew delays that call, investigators evaluate their actions using a very strict logic tree. This flowchart shows how they map the event. To an investigator, a delay is viewed as hesitation, and hesitation is interpreted as the crew possibly hiding something. We can expand this diagram to see how that affects the final outcome. If a crew reports a small spill immediately, the authorities classify it as an incident. If they report that exact same volume of oil an hour later, it becomes a severe credibility issue. A few barrels of oil in the harbor is a solvable environmental problem. The real threat to a shipping company's survival is losing the trust of the regulatory bodies that control their right to operate in that port. Once the physical spill is contained, the focus of the crisis moves from the water to the bridge. The routine safety checklists that were designed to prevent the accident are immediately seized. After an incident, these checklists stop being helpful operational guides and become prosecuting evidence. Investigators aren't just looking to see if the boxes were checked. They are looking for chronological alignment. This timeline visualizes the data points extracted from a bunkering operation. Investigators map the times your checklist was completed against the physical tank soundings and the pumping communication logs. If the paperwork looks rushed or the timestamps don't perfectly align with the physical actions, it suggests the crew took operational shortcuts. While investigators drill into these timelines, crews often spend their energy fixating entirely on cleaning up the visible oil. Removing the slick is a basic expectation, but the underlying cause of the leak is what determines the actual legal liability. Industry data shows that machinery is rarely to blame. This breakdown chart categorizes the primary causes of bunkering casualties. Notice how heavily the data skews toward operational failures. Things like inadequate tank monitoring or an over-reliance on high-level alarms cause far more spills than actual equipment breakdowns. Throwing booms around the vessel proves your team knows how to respond to an emergency. But explaining exactly why the system failed in the first place proves your baseline operational competence. In the chaotic hours following an accident, a crew might realize their logs look inconsistent. The temptation to tidy up or retroactively clarify the physical oil record book is immense. Doing so turns a minor operational incident into a massive criminal liability. Modern maritime investigators rely on data triangulation. This network graph illustrates how authorities reconstruct the timeline. They pull unalterable digital timestamps from bridge navigation systems, engine room data, and automated alarms. If a crew member tries to alter a physical logbook entry, it immediately conflicts with these digital nodes. You can correct ink, but you cannot rewrite a digital trail. The reason the mistake happened in the first place rarely involves malicious intent or someone actively choosing to ignore a procedure. Disasters happen because specific environmental conditions make failure highly probable. These conditions include severe schedule pressure, role ambiguity between ship and barge, or a watch handover during transfer. Often, it's simple complacency. The crew has executed the procedure 100 times, so they stop paying close attention to the details on the 101st. Pointing to a stressful schedule or a tired crew will not protect a shipping company from fines. These human elements are highly discoverable root causes of poor execution. An oil spill is a highly visible, contained, and relatively brief emergency. That if a vessel suffers a major casualty, like a fire or a grounding, the complexity multiplies. You're no longer managing a localized slick. You are dealing with a sprawling field of distressed cargo. Before a salvage team can step on deck or move a single damaged box, the entire operation stops for comprehensive cargo risk profiling. Responders analyze the BAPLIE file, the master digital map of the payload. This grid represents thousands of containers. Responders isolate specific hazardous variables hidden within the stack: dangerous goods, temperature-sensitive chemicals, and structurally compromised units. Overlooking one container could trigger a secondary disaster. Handling that threat requires intense coordination. Responders have to brief vessel owners, charterers, insurers, and local environmental agencies simultaneously, often navigating language barriers and complex regulatory frameworks under extreme pressure. The crisis is no longer a matter of simple physical containment. It becomes a high-stakes exercise in logistical diplomacy. The physical recovery can't start until a temporary cargo handling yard is established on shore. Progress here isn't measured by how fast cranes can lift boxes. It is dictated entirely by how quickly the team can secure environmental compliance and regulatory permits. Once the cargo finally starts moving, the operation becomes a grueling data collection exercise. Every single container is meticulously tracked as it is offloaded, inspected, stored, salvaged, or safely disposed of. All of this tracking dictates the final financial implications for claims and recovery. This accumulation model demonstrates how the expenses multiply. You start with a baseline handling fee, but as storage, specialist labor, and hazardous disposal requirements drag on, the budget line inflates exponentially. The public measures a maritime casualty by the size of the spill or the speed of the cleanup. Insurers and authorities judge the event on completely different terms. They look at how quickly the master reported the incident and how highly controlled the crew's response was under pressure. In a highly regulated port, calm transparency beats reactive efficiency. The physical mess on the water will eventually fade, but the administrative record remembers every delayed radio call and skipped checklist, and that investigation lasts for years.